Yeah. Ah, shit, forgot. Hello. 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 This is Russian bot speaking. How you doing all? Hello. Yeah, I will show you the money. You have to say Ligma. Ligma balls, crystal philosopher. Well, hello everybody. I am live. Just about. And you're all wondering, why is this called Where is the Money? Well, you see, for those of you who are new to the channel, and maybe those of you who've been out the loop for a while, you may remember over the course of a couple of months, I wasn't on Patreon anymore. I was on a little website called Maker Support, and Maker Support was ran by this new guy. I know what, I've even forgotten his name. I will go over to Twitter in a minute to find out his name. Hang on a sec. Anyway, I was on there because he was building this site as a one-man, later to be allegedly two-man or two-person startup, to be a sort of alternative to Patreon and even to Twitter, because the messaging system was very much like Twitter, but the donation system was very much like Patreon. It was kind of a mashup of the two in many ways. Looked good on paper, right? And for a little while, people were getting their money. I had to use my PayPal because I couldn't get my bank account verified. And, you know, at the beginning, he was easy enough to get a hold of, although for me, he always wasn't for some reason, and I always got the wrong advice from him, which should have been sending me alarm bells. But anyway, then he went radio silent, and then people weren't getting their money, and then people started to complain. And then he told us that Stripe, which was the service he used to wire the money that people paid me and other people, they basically stopped all this, and they were trying to sort this out. And apparently Stripe are just being progressive cunts. That's why they don't like the idea of Maker Support being a alternative to Patreon and housing all these alternative voices that Patreon either at the moment do allow on their platform, like me, or people who they got rid of, like Jeremy from the Quarter Room. And so he came out with all these things like, look, this has happened, it's going to take us 90 days to sort everything out to give you the money, we promise. And that was back in April. It is now the 30th of July. Still no money. Where's the money, bro? Where is it? And where is this work in progress of the new Maker Support? I suggest we have a little look on Maker Support. But before I do that, I must get my password up, which you guys will not see. Hopefully. Yep, you will not see that. But it's just interesting how it's been 90 days pretty much. And we still haven't got anything yet. So yeah, all I'm doing is making a video. Well, part of the stream is to raise awareness of this, because believe it or not, one of the things that I think made me make this was during the meetup. I was talking to Mike, Dr. Random Cam, and he said that you made a video on Maker Support, didn't you? And I said, yeah, I did. And it got me thinking, well, has he said anything recently? No. I've seen very few people actually, you know, ask him on Twitter, like, not Dr. Random Cam, the guy from Maker Support, what's happening? I think it's like 2 to 3 people. So I guess he must be banking on people not remembering. He thinks, well, it's 90 days. It's a long time. People can forget. Well, the internet doesn't forget. There's always somebody who remembers. Now, I'm going to see if anything has changed on Maker Support. And then after that, we'll just shoot the shit, you know. Hang on. Let me just put my email in. Alright. Well, at least I can still get in. I think there was one guy who said he couldn't even get in anymore, like his account was gone, which is unusual because nobody can delete their account. Oh, Sargon, you absolute boomer. So I'll show you guys. Hang on. I will show you. He is currently still using it. Why would anybody use it at this point? I just it boggles the mind, guys. It really does. So anyway, look, I don't know if I can even show the dashboard without doxing anything. Hang on, let me just double check that no sensitive information. Okay, so donations is enabled. Then you go to payout, if I remember. It's good to see that I've had no earnings, so that's good. Yep, I can now show you. Well, I can't show you anything because it shows some things from my bank account, so I can't exactly show you. But yeah, it basically says disabled by Stripe for some unknown reason. He hasn't fixed it. I'll try and just show you a little bit of this. There we are. Disabled by Stripe for unknown reason. Control T, I think. No. Hang on, let me just reset my thing. There we are. So there we go. Still nothing. So it's been 90 days, pretty much, and for some reason he's gone radio silent again. Now maybe he is hard at work with this unknown mythical person that he hired to do the social media aspect of this. So why is this person never chatting to us and giving us regular updates? I just don't understand. In fact, I'm just going to go on Maker Support's profile to see if they've been saying anything on the website, because everything just looks the same to me. Maker Support. So guarantee you it's going to be the same April thing. Here we are. 4 months ago, exactly. And the comments, there's been one comment 19 days ago, so I'm just going to read what this guy has to say. It is now July. I had to move all of my memberships to a new platform so I could take payments. All I want is the payout I never received. Stripe does not show you as an existing customer. Did you fail to meet their compliance requirements? If you're not PCI compliant, then be upfront with us all. Additionally, you still owe us the funds we generated. And another person said, please put it on Bitcoin. This is so unprofessional, unreal, says another. People asking for updates. One guy spammed RIP as if that's going to help anything. And the one guy was telling us how he's unable to delete his thing. I don't know. He even wants to do a legal cease and desist. So yeah, it was pretty much a scam at this point. I did say to Mike that well, we'll find out if we get the money. It's not a scam. If he doesn't give us the money, it's a scam. But then again, you know what people say: don't attribute to malice what can easily be attributed to stupidity. But yeah. What if the money is with D? Well, you know, it would be her thing. You've been robbed? Well, not me. I haven't been robbed. The people who donated to Make a Sport to give me the money have been robbed. I mean, to some extent, I guess I was just... Well, no. I willingly gave money some months to the website to help cover costs, so that's not really being robbed. That's me giving like £1 or whatever it was, £3 a month to support the technical side of things. But yeah, my patrons have basically been robbed. But, you know, I'm glad that at the very least they're not taking any more payments, because then he would probably have more shit to deal with if he was. God knows where that money is. Maybe it is in limbo, maybe it isn't. But the fact that we're not far off August at all, we are 2 days away. Well, it'll be 24 hours soon. Suggests to me that time is... Well, I think it already has run out. Because it has been 90 days, surely. Because it was April 28th when he last updated us all. I was thanking us for everything. I will now show you that. But it's just... Oh, I hate that shit, man. Because look, there it is, you see? April 28th. I mean, maybe some. Yeah, that's it. Connor Douglas. That's his name. I wonder if I still follow him on Twitter though. That's what I need to check out. Maybe he's been saying things on there, or maybe he's deleted it. I don't know. That's an old one. Let's have a look. There was some new stuff here. July 19th. What is going on? Direwolf, who I know of. Is he still a... Oh, he still is a soldier. Huh. And yeah, there's another one here. It's so about four more people have been speaking. What's the latest? And then Traname Girl, who I seem to be aware of. She's been complaining about that. And then 5 hours ago, some guy called Choose Real, oy vey. Yeah, he's been sarcastic when he's saying, hopefully a good portion of these people forget. And I think that's probably exactly what he's banking on, if it's a scam, that people forget. It would surprise me if he just made this on a Photoshop, but again, I don't know. But yeah, anybody still using Maker Support are either boomers or just deluded, or I don't even know. So anyway, let's try and find Connor's Twitter. Connor. Shit. Wrong one. Hang on. Is it that one? I think it might be. I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's go back and find it. Sorry about this being really slow. I'm just trying to see what he's been saying on his personal account, because I'm pretty sure I followed him, so I should be able to still see it. Let's have a look. Show more replies. Oh. Where is it? Where's the one that I was just... Oh god, I'm going all boomer now. Not that one. Here we are. No, not that one. There we are. Let's get that. Connor. Ah, right. 2 S's. Right. God, what a stupid way to spell Douglas. Yeah, it was the guy that I found. Right. Oh dear. So it's protected, and I thought I followed him. Turns out I didn't. Or it blocked me and then unblocked me so that I can't follow him. But yeah, there we go. There's an update. Not had the money, guys. The time is running out for him to say something, which I don't think he will. I mean, call me Nostradamus, but I don't think anything's gonna happen there. So anyway, back to this. Hello there, grass officer. Is that me? Is that like a pun on grasshopper? Shit happens. Yeah, put it down. I mean, I should have known that it was going to be a scam, because I've helped, inadvertently helped, shall I say, scammers before. What was she called? Well, what was he called now? Trish. Yes, new Trish. She turned out to be some guy who was using the picture of a dead woman to get funds and money off people because he was lazy and couldn't be asked to get a job, essentially. That is basically what he was. And strangely enough, these people are that know her, they're apparently family, are still friends with me on Steam, and they might even see this, I don't know. But yeah, I should have known better. That was enough. That in hindsight was an obvious scam. I mean, it was just so convenient that this person happened to be a mute who got stabbed in the throat or whatever it was by some, abusive boyfriend. That was the excuse. That was the story that the guy concocted. Now, apparently, the guy who exposed the guy who was using that name was himself a bit seedy, but at the very least, the fact that Trish never really responded to me when I, inquired, and then left the internet and tried to make a new identity for themselves before being spotted, and then disappearing completely off the face of the earth, suggests to me that he was a scam. Which is why I no longer, even now I no longer donate to things like GoFundMe's and things like that unless I know for sure that it isn't a scam, which, by the way, I don't, which is why I haven't donated for months, because it's not worth it anymore. Like, these platforms are just incredibly, not dangerous, but untrustworthy, because even though GoFundMe and Kickstarter, they're just offering a platform. It's not them who are the scammers, but it seems to be that there's not a lot of protection against scammers. I mean, I guess it's hard work anyway, and I shouldn't really be, I shouldn't be too harsh on them, but it keeps happening, and people are able to abuse it regardless of what they try to do. And I just have no time for it anymore. I don't want to. So yeah, there's that. I haven't donated to anything. I did donate to the badges, obviously, but again, I know them and I trust them. And guess what? They turned up to Manchester and I filmed it. So there it is. There is your proof. I donated to them, but that's because every time I've ever seen people donate to them, they always deliver. So they have a track record, and I knew that they would do it unless something bad happened. Say, I don't know, the British border agencies said, "Be gone," be gone thought. Essentially. Yeah, but again, I forgot. But in terms of like Indiegogo shit, random people or people who ask me for help, personally, I haven't. I guess I should have clarified that. So like, if I did something like the badges thing, I wouldn't, because I prefer to make the money myself. But if I ever did that, trust me, you would know. You would know that I would deliver. In fact, in many ways, I think it would be better just to push my Patreon, which I've had some thoughts about that, because I've been looking for more history books recently to make videos on, and I realise a lot of them are not on Kindle that I want to read, and then even if they are, they're incredibly expensive. Like, there's a book that I really want to read, and what was it called? If I can find it. What was it that I was looking for? Shit. It was like £25, and it was basically 200 odd pages long. It's the size of a small novel, and they expect me to pay 25 quid on that. You would need like a really big Patreon account just to buy all those books. Let's see if I can find it. It should be on my history. Waterstones, which is the big book company. No, I must have been on somewhere else. That's it. Lenin's Last Struggle. I will show you guys. Hang on, I made another mistake. £25.50. That's basically 30 quid. And it's 224 pages, and they expect me to pay 25 quid for that. I mean, I suppose it's maybe a proper academic work where it's meant to be in universities and high schools and things like that, but 25 quid, really? I don't know. I just don't know. But I mean, I want it, and it looks really interesting. I could do a video on Lenin, because I know that Vernaculus did a video on Stalin, and I could do one on Trotsky too. I was watching some videos on Trotsky from Hitchens and a few other people with him. It wasn't just him on his own. That was very interesting, and that's something I could look at. Maybe start off small with specific areas of history, specific events and people, and then slowly go up. And as I improve my skills, I basically make the videos bigger and more bolder, I guess one could say. But yeah, I was thinking about pushing my Patreon so people could help me get all these books. And it's not just history books as well. It could be anything really, like philosophy, political stuff. Maybe do reviews. Although reviewing books, I might not do that every now and then. It might just be a very rare case. Like maybe I read an old book and I can reflect on it hindsight is 2020. But a video like I did about the God delusion and how easy, how when you read it, you realize how easy it was for the SJWs to basically infiltrate the atheist community. And also, I've noticed recently progressives, like I know Sam Cedar has done a few videos, and especially maybe the Young Turks or some other radio personality, shall we say. I've been attacking new atheists, progressives, the people who are lumped in with them, even though they are actually locked in a battle with each other and have been for years. Even though a lot of people like Sam Harris have some sympathies, but for some reason still think that he should cater to them. Yeah. Mate, they're your enemies. Join the dark side. I didn't even see the red moon. No, I missed it. I was working. I can bring it back up again if you want, curated opinions. Where have you been anyway? It's been down for ages. Never trust a walker with an Indiegogo campaign. For gay book, yeah. Oh no, wait. I mean loads of books, mate. I've got a huge Amazon wish list. I'm not gonna put that on the like when you can get people to buy you shit, and I don't want that. No way. But you should see my wish list. Just book after book after book. Like just stuff that's coming out soon, and things that I want to read that look interesting. God, it's as far as the eye can see, just book after book. It ranges from World War II to ancient history. So yeah, Jesus. I mean, some of it's dead. Like specific as well, and some of it I'll be reading blind. Like I don't know if it's going to be informative or not. I mean, most of them have good reviews, so I'm banking on these people giving me a decent review and saying, yeah, this is trustworthy. Oh, excuse me. Like I always check the reviews. Not when it comes to novels, because it's a novel, it's not real. But when it comes to history books, you have to look at the people and the reviewers and see if it is speaking the truth and see where the flaws are as well. I mean, you can still read it because not everything is going to be wrong unless it's not revisionism, because revisionism is a word that has been given a negative connotation when it shouldn't have one. When they try to what was the word that Tick History used? He basically, it's not revision, it's complete and utter, fakery. When you're just, intentionally telling lies to further your agenda. So say if you're a communist, you're intentionally lying to make the Soviet Union look like a utopia when it wasn't. Or if you're a Nazi, you want to make the British and everybody else at fault for the war, and Hitler didn't do nothing, things like that. That kind of shit. And there's books like that I've been made aware of that I could potentially read and debunk or just review and say this is what they get wrong, this is what they leave out, because you have to align my own mission in order to sell those type of arguments. Doug Walker with an Indiegogo campaign. Of course, source material, yeah, obviously. That's why I need books with a bibliography, which, by the way, if I was to do a video on Operation Crusader, there's like a 3-book series by this guy who doesn't list his sources, even though he's actually right about things, so I've been told. I trust history on that. And, yeah. But, that's something I'm going to press on with. I'm still doing the ancestry thing. I've just, so much shit has been going on, I haven't had time to record it, but I will record it at some point. It is going to happen, but at the same time, I'm not going to have as much money to do the final video at the moment. The National Geographic ancestry thing, which I can show you. It's really in depth what they seem to be providing. Geographic ancestry kit. Here we are. Geno 2.0. It sounds a bit like Warhammer 40k. It's dead expensive though. That's the only issue I have with it. Fuck's sake. is 149 quid. I mean, it looks far more realistic, far more scientific and futuristic than the other ones I was using. I mean, it has been enhanced off the most up-to-date ancestry available, improved results on high-capacity DNA testing chip. Interesting. 60 reference populations, improved paternal haplogroup calls. Because surprisingly, from what I can say, without spoiling the video, Ancestry.com and 23andMe were quite similar, although there were major differences in the smaller aspects of my ancestry, like the stuff that's like below 0.5% or something like that. There were some changes which made actually a lot more sense, judging by what I found out on the Ancestry.com thing. But I'm not going to say what they are yet, obviously. And then there's some. Then it goes further into depth as to what like haplogroup you're part of. What I wouldn't say they're necessarily related to me. I guess they are, but like some pretty famous people share my haplogroup, and also some common ancestors. Pretty famous on both sides. So, and one of them's even still alive, but I don't think I'm in any way actually related to him. So there's that. But yeah, this one seems like it's going to be a lot more in depth. But it's the same thing. You have to swab, and then you put it in the thing, and then you ship it out. Also, does it ship to my country? Yes, it does. You have to make sure. But so far, I'd say, unless you want to protect your identity, I guess it's worth it to some extent. But again, apart from National Geographic, the others were caught fabricating test results to make people less racist. But they can't do that to me because I'm not white anyway. So I'm reasonably sure that they weren't lying to me about certain things. I hope. But yeah, I can't see National Geographic doing that. The fact, I don't know, they haven't struck me as particularly ideological yet. But then again, somebody could probably send me an article showing the exact opposite. Hitler is Michael Brown. That's controversial. Very edgy. But anyway, I noticed that somebody... Well, there's been a lot of things on Boogie 2988 recently, and like somebody on first I saw it on Tommy C. Is it Tommy C? You know, the guy who's on Baited. He was talking to somebody on Twitter, and he showed some DMs. He was like, something's gonna happen to Boogie where he gets exposed. They love, over in that side of YouTube, they love using the word exposed, and they say it unironically, like it's Keemstar, but Keemstar's a fucking child in a man's body. He'll be exposed as somebody who's not as nice as he lets on. And then somebody recently, it's been in trending that I should really watch, just in case. But I'm going to judge it by the title before I watch it. The Boogie 2988 problem, how it hurts his reputation. Now, that could be about many things. It could be possibly being easily bullied, which could harm his reputation amongst certain people, like with Anita Sarkeesian. You know, he does back down a lot, and he does try to, you know, be a bit vanilla. So if he says something a bit too edgy, people attack him, and he'll, you know, take it back when he should be sticking to his guns and be principled, regardless of what he says, unless he's wrong. But there's that, and there's also the not nice angle. I mean, first off, I think he's pretty open about the fact that he isn't perfect. You know, it's quite obvious as well if you have half a brain cell. But yeah, it's a persona. The Francis thing is a persona, but that's just like the extreme end of himself, and then in the negative sense, and then the Boogie persona is the extreme end of the nice version of him, and really he's somewhere in between, and he's like that. He's been open about that on H2H3 podcast. Like, look how he acts there compared to on his own channel. Like, he's literally just being like you and me. I mean, he's a professional YouTuber. He has a show to run and money to make. So yeah, of course he's going to have a persona to some extent. I mean, we all do to some, I guess, but I wouldn't say that he in any way will be exposed by that when he's already exposed it himself. Now, maybe he could be exposed by some private people of being quite a shady person, but nothing like that's happened yet. So, I don't know. But yeah, he's only a doormat because he has to be, I suppose. The Blood Red Moon prophecy. Yeah, Keemstar has a nice side, but he's childish. Like, he thinks people on the internet are his friends that he's only known for a couple of months. Like, friendships take time to make. He should know that. That's probably why he and Leafy had that massive problem. Because Leafy probably didn't view him as much of a friend as Keemstar thought he did. Is Mitch a character? No. I mean, I act worse online than I do in real life. I say worse things than I would in real life. You know, certain words that we shall not speak of, otherwise I get demonetized. You know, I use that shit more on the internet than I would in real life. Like, I just don't say that shit. Not because I'm afraid, but I just don't. It's not really in my vocabulary in real life. Warski is not a genuine. No, of course not. He's a guy who made the wrong financial decision and likes to burn his nipples. I guess he's becoming a bit masochistic, or is it? No, yeah, masochistic. That's it. Yeah, not sadistic. Sadists do the harm. Masochists want the harm, right? Yeah. God, seeing that clip, I thought it was taken out of context and everything, but maybe he was dared to do it or something. I mean, you don't just out of nowhere burn your nipples as people are going mental in the Discord chat that you're showing. God, I don't even know what they were arguing about, and then he just goes and burns himself. It almost looks like it was pre-planned in many ways. Like it's too perfect. But like, yeah, I think he ultimately made, long-term wise, the wrong decision to get Warski live, and in fact the whole channel geared towards Warski live, and in the way that he ended up making it, because before Warski live was a pretty good platform just to talk to people and to, you know, show people new YouTubers and stuff. And I think he followed me on Twitter for that reason, but it never transpired. I don't know his real reason behind it. Maybe he just liked my stuff, but at the time. But I remember people did ask him to get me on, but it just never happened. Because back then it was about, you know, just talking to people, shooting the shit, not really blood sports. And then that happened, and then I think long-term wise, he's suffered because he's lost his core fan base. Because every time. Sometimes he's a bit late, sometimes he's a bit early, but it's always in this window. So anyway, where was I? Yeah, so when he originally had that 20% of his audience, well, how do I explain this? Star Wars had the same issue. LucasArts had the same issue, basically, and Marvel Comics do too, where there's a rule, or rather like a law, almost, a pattern in economics and business that 80% of your revenue, the things that you make that get bought and sold, come from 20% of your audience. Now, he basically got rid of that 20% of his audience that basically built him up to where he is today. Well, he's contributed to building him up to where he is today, and tried to replace them with a wider audience of certain communities who, you know, short-term wise seem to have given him a hell of a lot of money, but long-term wise he's bleeding supporters. So the core audience is leaving in droves, and he's trying to appeal to these other people who weren't his audience before and were only part of his audience because of the personalities he had on, not necessarily him. And he's suffering as a result of that. If you look at the statistics, that is. Shotman and Munty. I don't think Andy is that talented. he. I need more nip slips. Hello, Sir Adamantine. How's it been? A long time no see. I mean, no. I've got a wound on my stomach. I don't want to show it. I stabbed myself by accident at work. Don't worry, it's not as bad as you think. You got a Carlos license. Yeah, there's a few Carloses around here. You got your first community strike for Moldy Locks. Winning. I'm not shaming the sadomasochist, Zeppi. If you like to dish out and take it in a BDSM-like way where it's perfectly consensual, I will not judge you. But yeah, I don't think long-term wise it was ever going to help Warski, but hey, whatever. Also, here's something that's completely off topic, but your boy Zach, or Michael C. Mayer, Diversity in Comics, just posted this thing where he wants someone to Photoshop the new Magnificent Seven and put prominent Comicsgate people into it. Now there's an interesting film. One, it was surprisingly okay. It wasn't amazing. It's not a patch on the original. By the way, guys, here's the tweet if you want to, get the photo. But if you notice, the Asian guy dies and all the white people die, but Denzel, the native, and who else was it? 3 people survive. I'm pretty sure all the white people die in it, don't they? Oh, maybe I was wrong. Pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure 2 members from the guys who, none of them are, you know what I mean. I'm pretty sure that was intentional because they can't. Well, first you can't kill off Denzel because he's Denzel, but then you have to think, really. Let's have a look. Oh, it's been a while since I saw Magnificent Seven. 2016 was it? Yeah. Let's have a look. Who died? Yeah, based on Seven Samurai. We'll have to say that now. Yeah, exactly. All the white people die, and the Asian guy dies, but the other 2 don't. It's the progressive stacking action, guys. I always thought that was a funny thing. I don't know if it was intentional or not. I just thought it was funny. I mean, maybe it is, but I just thought that was incredibly funny. Because, yeah, like, it just wasn't a patch on the original. And what's also interesting is they're not defending a Mexican town against Mexican bandits. They're defending an American town from American bandits, which is interesting. I guess they must have thought, oh, we can't have the Mexicans be the bad guys, is that racist? Even though Mexicans are also the good guys, which was rare in the 1960s. I mean, the Magnificent Seven probably in the 60s, broke more boundaries than this. And then let's not forget Sam Peckinpah's movies. I mean, yeah, the natives were the bad guys in a lot of his films, but the Mexicans certainly were not. He had a very big fascination with the culture and everything. Mexicans were always good guys and bad guys. I mean, I think it was more the Mexican government that was the bad guys, but the banditos and the Mexican cowboys, I forgot their actual term, were always the good guys. Peckinpah was great. 6 months ahead of the curve. I am not a Midlander. That does not work on me. Your slander is noted. This heresy will be punished. But yeah, I just noticed that. And then now the new Teen Titans thing has flared up again because now they've released a trailer. And oh my god, I'm burping like mad. And now thinking Starfire looks even worse than the behind the scenes photos. And Claudia Brown, is it Claudia Brown? Yeah, Claudia Brown, and Claudia Bolin's the British one, the evil one. Ranting feminist was going full White Knight. Am I blocked? Oh, I wish there still was. Why did she have a? Let me show you this, guys. But before we get into her tweets, if I can still find them, I you know I don't prepare this shit. She has a Jenny McDermott quote for some reason. I assume it's meant to be taking the piss out of Jenny. Oh God, Jenny's gonna know about this now. You know what she's like. You know when you talk about your Asperger's and show yourself as a 9-foot tall beast. Is that reference to me? Because I don't really talk about it. I mention it, but I don't talk about it. I would never talk about it because you don't talk about your autism online, in my opinion. Oh, what am I doing? But anyway, she really was. Neither are you, Claudia. You aren't for fucking equality. None of you. I mean, there's like 2 to 3 people who are feminists who are for equality that I can think of. I mean, I guess there are also the people who call themselves feminists but are barely feminists who are. But people like you, true believers, you aren't. But that's not what I'm looking for. Where is it? Where is her stuff on Starfire? Because she went fucking mental. I mean, she went mental on Lauren Southern too. Like, get out my country. Like, oh, so it's okay for you to tell somebody to get out of your country if they're white and disagree with you politically. But when people, I know I'm only saying this to point out the contradiction here, Claudia. All right, but if it's people like Muslims or any other ethnic, it could be any ethnic group. It could be a white ethno group like the Albanians or something. If they come into Australia, would you tell them to go away because you don't like them or have issues with certain things? No, you wouldn't. But anyway, where is these bloody tweets about bloody Starfire? Come on. Oh, apparently Suit Yourself blocked her. Why did you block her, you idiot? Don't give her ammunition. Here we are. Here's some of them. Okay. Are you ready, guys? Oh, wait, no, she's not way, but she's way, if I remember the in-joke. Figure I should sum up a few things so I can refer back to it. I don't much like the costume for Starfire either, but it isn't about how promiscuous she appears to be. It's a mess of colours being too bright and clashing. Those colours work well in art, but not IRL. Okay. So you're going to defend it anyway. 2, Starfire being black shouldn't be a problem for anyone, but a lot of people are pissed off about it. Yeah, because she's not human. Starfire is not human. She's an alien from another world where every single person is orange. And by the way, there are amazing cosplays by black girls playing Starfire. And they look like Starfire. The miracle of modern makeup can make you look like something completely different. You could transform somebody from a fairly normal looking human into something alien and monstrous just using prosthetics and makeup and things like that. That's literally, well, you don't even need to use prosthetics apart from maybe, putting contacts in her to make her eyes green. But even then you can probably CGI that, but that would be a pain in the ass to animate every nuance of their eyes when they move and things like that. There's no point to it, but you can do that. They've not even bothered to try and make her look like Starfire. And you said the costume is too bright, but Starfire's costume isn't that bright and in any way clashing. It's like a mellow purple with grey. I mean, she should really be looking at the Teen Titans version because that actually makes sense. And if you look at the actress who plays her outside of the role, she's got the body type and she looks like she could play Starfire. I mean, she looks a bit old for Starfire. I mean, I think she looks like she's in her late 20s. I don't know how old she actually is, but I think she looks slightly too old. But again, with makeup, you can make her look young. But hey, whatever. Let's not dance around the issue and pretend that no one is racist. Some people are racist as fuck, and have been harassing the actress, which is really shitty. Oh, of course. They're racist. Some of them are racist. She has to put that caveat in there because she's trying to pretend to be the decent, honourable, objective feminist, right? Maybe some of them are. But the vast majority, I'm pretty sure the argument is not from race, that nobody's saying that a black person can't play Starfire, because otherwise why would they bring up all these cosplayers, you know, who are black and who are making on a limited budget much better costumes and actually are very much akin to the comic. They are true to the comic in many ways, but whatever. 3, of all things to take issue with about the trailer, the one thing that bothers you is Starfire. It does make me question you a bit, because there are way worse things in the trailer than her costume design. Raven being moody and edgy for one thing. The 50 Shades of Grey. Raven is moody and edgy. Well, maybe not edgy. Well, she is moody. Raven is the girl who just goes... That's her character. At least in the Teen Titans. And she was in the original cartoon, but that was a defense mechanism. Because deep down inside, she had a lot of insecurities. Some of them so dark and conflicting that eventually, towards the end of the series, she became an antagonist, kind of, that had to be saved by Robin. Yeah, that's why she's moody, and not edgy, but just moody. And I don't know what you mean by the 50 Shades of Grey, but again, people are also complaining about Robin, you know, saying F Batman. Now, that's so stupid, like, why would Grayson say that? He's not the Red Hood yet. Oh wait, maybe that was a different Robin, wasn't it? But I don't think he's at that point where he falls out with Bruce, right? The 50 Shades of Grey vibe from the interaction. So it was continuing on with the male lead as well being cheesy as fuck. Well, yeah. Starfire and Robin have sexual tension. This is known, Khaleesi. It was in the original Teen Titans. And Beast Boy and Raven also have some thing as well, but the fact that they made everything super dark and gloomy in true DC fashion, but a lot of people remember it as a cartoon for kids. Of all things, Starfire's the least worrying thing in the trailer. There are many things that are worrying, but she was giving a lot of prominence, and she's the one who looks the worst. Oh, and a final note, anyone that harasses the cast of a film because they don't like choices made by the costuming, writers, directors can eat a dick. Oh, you just constantly love that. You know, they're being harassed and shit. And yeah, they shouldn't be harassed. But again, who is doing this harassment? And again, it can be easily rectified by blocking all those people. And again, you claim to not like it, but you seem to be very interested in defending it and attacking people for criticising it. So can you, like, you know, be a bit consistent? Oh yes, how dare they make Starfire look like a hooker. See, there's a difference between comic book fantasy and hookers. Hookers don't dress like Starfire in that. So are you basically saying that if a girl... Damn, she's quite tall. But anyway. So you're basically saying that Starfire dressed like this is basically no better than a hooker, rather than say like a swimsuit model or something like that. But then again, she did have to clarify that and say, I mean, dude, I have no problem with sex workers, but this is some BDSM stripper gear right here in the original. Well, no, it's a swimsuit. And for all you know, that could be... Now, remember, there is an actual in-canon reason for this. I think that might be the fact that her people are very sexually liberated, men and women, so they don't tend to wear a lot of clothing. So it's not her trying to look like a hooker, this is her expressing her culture. So you have taken this out of context and have tried to say, oh look, this looks like a hooker because she's showing her tits. How wrong are you? You clearly don't know shit. You're pretending to be down with the comics bros, but you really aren't. I mean, even I'm not. I didn't read Teen Titans, but I'm definitely sure that her culture is one of a very sexually liberated, carefree society based on like the 1960s and things like that, where men and women barely wear anything. I'm pretty sure. And maybe that has something to do with the powers as well, because it makes them feel happy, and happy thoughts make her stronger, things like that. I don't know, but that's the type of character she is. So yeah, that's not... And also, that's not what hookers tend to be drawn as, or even portrayed as. Wearing a big, fluffy coat, like she's wearing with that kind of dress and that kind of hair. Yeah, that's what people usually make black hookers look like, or even white ones too. So yeah, there is a difference. 99% of people, Claudia, because here she is now trying to attack the amazing atheist, saying, "Are you bothered about that? Nobody." I know he's exaggerating, but literally, it's such a minority that they barely register. People don't mind that she's black. They don't like the fact that she doesn't look like Starfire. You're an absolute idiot, Claudia. And I don't have time for you. And you pretend to be objective and you're not. Fuck you. Alright, let's just reset that. Let's have a look at the chat. Press X if you're quality filtered. I think I might be. I will tell you, I am sub to Jenny. I used to be, but not anymore. Equal rights, but no equal responsibility. I hope she never finds my channel. I think Felfort mentions her in 3 songs. Yeah. Good recent redesign, Broly. So Adamantine, Marvel Comics aren't doing very well either. I mean, to be fair, the films are doing very well, but the comics are not. Yeah, of course Claudia Blinn defends the new Doctor Who shit, which, by the way, they did exactly what people want Games Workshop to do, which is to rewrite the canon and retcon everything to do with Time Lord physiology, biology, and culture. So that they can make the Doctor their avatar for social justice. I mean, when you look at the old stuff, there's not a in the old canon, the stuff it's meant to be based on before they just, or was it ever really based on it? I often wonder, is it really? Did they just use it sort of like an influence? Like, we'll take certain things from it, but we're going to actually build our own canon rather than just continue it off. Yeah, great movies. But anyway, so in the original Doctor Who series, the Time Lords originally, in the 60s, were portrayed as this super godlike race who, at the click of the fingers, essentially, metaphorically speaking, they didn't actually do that. They can rectify problems with the time and the space-time continuum, things like that. So in the second Doctor's last few episodes, because it was serials back then, he ends up in a place which is being run by a race called the Warlords, which are a Time Lord-like race. I don't think they can regenerate, because, again, not a lot has really been written on them in the TV show. That was the only time they've ever appeared. Very interesting race. They could have done a lot more with that, I felt, but it doesn't matter. They had their own TARDISes and things like that, or TARDIS-like ships, and they would steal whole groups of people from different times in humanity's history and pit them against each other. They would bring them into a planet, and then different warlords would fight each other using these groups. So they'd have Confederates and Unionists from the Civil War, British and Germans from World War One. They also had Romans and barbarians in one area, because they're set in different quadrants, and then their headquarters are in the middle. And then you'd have Redcoats versus the Jacobites. Not the Scottish, alright guys, that's not how history happened. But what happens is that the Doctor, in order to get everybody home, once he's defeated them essentially, he has to contact the Time Lords. And the Time Lords arrive, and they get everybody back to where they should be, including the Doctor's companions, because the Doctor has broken the law. Essentially, he's broken Time Lord law. He's not really meant to interfere with stuff like that. He's not meant to be doing this and that. And they punish him by making him regenerate. By doing that, they make him regenerate. They Thanos him. They reverse Thanos him. The Warlords. There's a lot of like old episodes that are lost, but we still know about their core concepts and things like that. And, things like that should still happen. Like, there was a thing called the Daleks Master Plan, like a huge, massive serial. It was like 2 films almost, and the Daleks are a part, like a axis of evil of sorts. Like there could be more like that, and it wasn't just the Cybermen were around at that time, but there were loads of other alien races that they could use from there. Well, it's not called the Prime Directive in Doctor Who, but essentially, yeah. Essentially, that's what he did. And they punished him and exiled him to Earth. But then in the 70s, they became, I guess, maybe it was a charade. They were never always this powerful, or they were at some point, but by the time the Fourth Doctor came around, because in the Third Doctor, they would occasionally appear to wind him up and make him do things, but they still looked kind of godlike. They were a little bit more mystical at that point. And then, yeah, 3 out of 12, yeah. And then in the fourth Doctor's series, he goes to Gallifrey and gets framed for murder, assassination, basically. And they appear to be not what people thought. People thought, this is going against the canon. Don't worry, this all has a point, guys. Because they were basically portrayed as bumbling idiots. When really, if you think about it, maybe this is their decline and fall, precipitating the beginning of the time war in many ways. And it's the Master that did the shooting, by the way. You know, the Master, not Missy. God, Missy. All right, we'll get into that. And then in the 80s, to become even more corrupt, you know, the trial of a Time Lord, where Colin Baker's Doctor is sent to trial, and he there's like I'm going to show you it. It's really good. Oh wait, maybe not. Will I get done for that? For showing you? Nah, I won't get done for showing something on YouTube. Trial Time Lord. Like, he basically does what we do in video form against them. Hang on. Let me just see if you can hear this. You should be able to hear this. Let me just show you this. This is amazing. This is his best moment as the Sixth Doctor. Also his biggest, because look, he becomes quite round. Yeah, I've been watching it recently. Alright, here we go.
All my travellings throughout the universe, I have battled against evil, against power-mad conspirators. I should have stayed here. The oldest civilization. Decadent, degenerate, and rotten to the core. Power-mad conspirators, Daleks, Sontarans, Cybermen. They're still in the nursery compared to us. 10 million years of absolute power. That's what it takes to be really corrupt.
Take it easy, Doc.
Doctor, these unseemly outbursts...
Unseemly outbursts? If I hadn't visited Ravelox as I then thought of it, the High Council would have kept this outrage carefully buried, as presumably they have for several centuries.
I must agree. You have an endearing habit of blundering into these things, Doctor, and the High Council took full advantage of your blunder.
I'm just going to leave it there for now. But that was his best moment. The episode itself wasn't actually that... Well, it was a mixed bag. They wrote themselves into a corner, but as you can see, clearly they're corrupt. And they were led by a corrupt version of the Doctor. He won't regenerate into that Doctor, but what it is, he's basically like an amalgamation of all the dark sides of him. Basically, he's like a clone, but not, if you know what I mean. And they allowed him... They're just corrupt. They're trying to sweep things under the rug because they want to make out that they're this amazing civilization that's uncorruptible, when really they're just as bad as everybody else. They have a superiority complex. And then, obviously, they don't get wiped out, but they're sent to a parallel dimension somewhere. And then... But if you notice, in other episodes around this time or around other times, there are female Time Lords, and it's made abundantly clear when... I know it was a bit of a sketch, but when Romana regenerates, she regenerates into a woman. Each body is a woman. She doesn't regenerate into a man. Like, there is an element of choice to some extent with the regenerations, but again, it's pretty clear from what I can gather from that, they don't choose what they were born as, because even in the new law, the Master is born as a boy, not as a girl or as a genderless being. So, one, how did the Time Lords... I mean, I guess I know the cellular structure changes, but how exactly do you... How did they breed like snails? I don't know, but the canon was changed so they could test the waters with the Master. Like, why out of all the characters would you change the Master to a female? That doesn't make sense. Like, he is meant to be that sort of the darkest side of mankind. Like, you know, this is shit that men are supposed to be doing. You know, world conquest things. Like, I know that women have done the same, but The Master is meant to be that side of it. That's why he's called the Master. Not Missy, who's just some Joker-esque thing that just causes trouble but doesn't actually harm anybody. The Master was legit trying to take over the galaxy. Or the universe. And then they had to retcon all that so he would regenerate into a woman. Even though they already had an evil female Time Lord called the Rani. Now, sadly, the actress has since died, I think. Or is she still alive? I think she's still alive, actually. I'm pretty sure she's dead, though. Yeah, Kate O'Mara. Shit. Yeah, she's dead. She died in 2014. Bloody hell. But they could easily have done what they did to reintroduce the Master and have her in another body, but she doesn't know she's the Rani, or she is the Rani, but doesn't reveal herself until later on, because we do know that Time Lords survived the Time War, like the Master did, in their ingenious ways. But no, we can't have the Rani. Apparently they were trying to make us think it was the Rani. But bring that back. Bring her back. She only ever had 2 stories. They didn't have much character development at all. That would have been an amazing villain, and then we could have all 3 of them being forced to join like sides, to beat a big foe or something. That would have been interesting. The 3 Time Lords, they could have called it, because it's pretty clear that Time Lord is a gender neutral term. Anyway, I mean, you don't call them Time Ladies. But yeah, it was purely just for a vehicle of social justice, and the actress that they've employed is like that, and the guy who's taking over from Moffat is just as bad as Moffat, if not worse. But that's what's happened. They had to retcon the entire series in order to make that happen. Yeah, Colin never got the chance he deserved as well, but neither did Sylvester McCoy, and he got cancelled just as he was getting good. When they finally nailed the character, they kill it. Yeah, the Valeyard it's not a possible future Doctor. It's an amalgamation of all the evil sides of him. And yeah, they wrote him out the canon. The NA writers were a clicky bunch. I don't think it was a mistake. I mean, you would have to bring him back at some point, because he's the Doctor's greatest foe. The Daleks are the greatest enemy, like alien foe, but the Master is the greatest personal foe. You kind of need him because it's yin and yang, isn't it? The Master has some good in him, but ultimately he is bad. Well, the Doctor has some bad in him, but ultimately he is good. That's what I like. And the last episode of Sylvester McCoy's run actually shows that. Like, when the Doctor nearly kills him with a rock. That you can't. And then when the Master sacrifices himself at some point, that shows his good. And he didn't start off as bad anyway, but... Yeah, the Rani, yeah. Yeah, the Rani was a biologist, yeah. She easily could have been, like... If they wanted to attack the alt-right and shit, she could have been the perfect kind of character for that. She could have been like a eugenicist or something. She's trying to create... Well, even though the Time Lords are already kind of a bit of a purity spiral type race anyway. But, they don't allow the lower rungs of Gallifreyan society to be like them. Moffat. See, this is the thing, like, Moffat, he did what we knew. He did all the wrong things, like... he made a really good villain in the Weeping Angels, but then he ruined them. He ground them into the dirt. Like, the best thing about the Daleks and the Cybermen and why they endured was not the frequency in which they appeared. Yeah, female millennial woes. Well, maybe not millennial woes, no. He's not scientific. He's just a guy. Maybe JF, like a more honest JF. Like, that's what she could have been. And then you'd have like a battle of the sciences between her and the Doctor. It's an intellectual battle, which is very interesting. Because I just feel like a lot of the 2 stories, they missed a lot, but especially the one with Sylvester McCoy. But it doesn't matter. Yeah, he ruined the Daleks and he ruined the Cybermen too, because the best thing that made them work was not the frequency in which they appeared, but actually the rarity. Like, there were entire seasons where the Cybermen and the Daleks would make no appearances. The Daleks don't appear in the final season of the old classics. It's, I think, apart from maybe one where Lethbridge Stewart is in it, but he's a good guy, and it's all new villains that they were preparing to make a huge storyline about. But ultimately, I guess it started with Russell T Davies, because even though he was trying to make it a bit scarce, the Dalek appearances, the fact that they started to appear every single season, no matter if they had a role in the finale or not, but they lost their impact. Like when you saw the Daleks in the old one, you were scared because it's not every time you see them. When you do see them, holy shit! And in each episode, something was added to them that makes them scary, whether that's armor or new weapons, or they have a galaxy time zone spanning empire, things like that. Mind control, or even in their second ever episode where they're running around London without having to rely on metal. And yeah, he also ruined the relationship between the Doctor and the Daleks. Yeah. But the Daleks, even in the old ones, in the old ones he cared, but he would mock them because at the time they weren't especially during the time. I mean, he didn't have as many experiences with them as he later would, I guess. I don't know how to explain that. Moffat couldn't give the Daleks interest in developing arc if he tried. Yeah, he was. It was Russell T Davies that set the rot in, and it was Moffat that basically went all the way. And the Cybermen were ruined too. The Cybermen are meant to constantly change, to evolve, but at the same time, they're not meant to be robots. I mean, I know they're still technically cyborgs, but the new ones are far too robotic for my liking. I mean, the reason why the Cybermen are scary is not because they can kill you, but because you could end up like them and you can see it. Like the original Cybermen that they've brought back recently. I mean, look at how they walk, look at how the hands and everything. You could be that. And then the other ones later, that's what you could become further down the line. That is the fear of the Cybermen. It's not the fact that they can kill people and they delete you. They just turn them into the Daleks. Like, delete. Like, why? They're completely different races. I don't understand why they had to ruin the Cybermen. Like, part of the reason why the Cybermen were good was also you could converse with them, and they were completely and utterly deluded and insane and illogical. No, they were very logical. Sorry, that's the problem. Very logical, cold, emotionless to a point. Things. They could be sarcastic. They could be mocking and things like that. But they no longer have a character. Like one of the along with the people, a lot of the characters in the 80s who were Cybermen were pretty what's the word? Iconic. Like the leader, cyber leader, whose first appearance was in 1975, 76, and then he became the rip-off of the Borg. The Cybermen predate the Borg by like 20 years. I mean, I know Eric, yeah, but still, like, I like the cyber leader. He had a personality. Well, as much as a Cyberman can have a personality, he was a good villain. And who can like forget his catchphrase, which is actually good. Excellent. The way he says it always cracks me up because it's so good. I think you could tell the actor was just like, yes, I like being evil. I like to make the Doctor's life a misery and scare the kids. I like that very much. I mean, I think to some extent they have to be kind of emotional because they're still cyborgs at the end of the day. Well, no, I wouldn't say the Borg are a rip-off of the Cybermen necessarily. But, I I mean, I think that concept predates both of them, probably. I mean, maybe Asimov may have done something on that, or Arthur C. Clarke. The Borg are different. Like, their leaders are emotional to some extent. Like, the Borg Queen has emotions, whereas her worker bees, essentially, not. They're more like bees. They're more like a colony of insects, whereas the Cybermen, because they used to be human, I mean, Mondasian, which is technically human, they're like a subset of humanity. They still have remnants of their humanity in them that can be occasionally expressed. I was just in it for the scarves. But yeah, there's differences. They're not a rip-off of each other. It's variations on the same theme, which predate both. Although what is interesting, Robocop, what is interesting is there's like in the 10th planet, I'm pretty sure it's the 10th planet, there's some uniforms that the astronauts wear, and it's the exact same uniform that some some like assassin wears in Return of the Jedi, in Empire Strikes Back. Hang on, let me find it. Doctor Who. It's uncanny. Here we are. Let me show you this. I know it's a Kotaku, but fuck it. It was funny. I mean, look. It's the exact same thing. It's the same costume. Also, by the way, I'm pretty sure that that actor was black. So the idea that Doctor Who was never diverse, needs more diversity, is bullshit. They broke loads of ground about that. I mean, the first episode was directed by an Egyptian, and the original showrunner was, well, the creator essentially was a woman. And let's not forget also that the guy who greenlit it was a Canadian. I know he was white, but he was Canadian. He was a minority himself, technically. Canadian. And, I mean, the Doctor was an old man. I mean, how many series back then had old men as the protagonist? And let's not forget that, I know Susan had character development issues, which I guess was a product of its time to some extent, but she was still radically different to anything else that people had seen at the time. She certainly wasn't a negative portrayal of a woman. Now there was Barbara, now there was Ian. Well, I know Ian was a man, but it was a good series, and as some people have said, like, they've tried to pass off the old Doctor, especially the first one, as like misogynist. No, I think he says something like 5. Apparently, people have counted this. He says 5 vaguely sexist things. But again, remember, it's the 1960s. It wasn't sexist back then, context-wise. And when Susan leaves to, live her life the way she wants to, do you think he's just going to go there? No, come back into the TARDIS, you're mine, you're my property. No, he gives her a speech about, this is your life, this is how you want to live it, and I trust you, I will miss you, I wish you all the best. What happened to Susan? Why can't they bring Susan back? She obviously survived the Time War, right? Unless she got hunted down, but I don't know. There's just so many plot holes that need to be kind of fixed. But yeah, that's funny. I thought that was hilarious. But Doctor Who's been fucked. I'm not going to watch the new series. Her face annoys me. Has anyone noticed every screenshot that you ever see of the new Doctor? She's got this shit-eating grin or these weird faces. Like, she's trying to do her best Tom Baker impression. It's like, Tom Baker does those faces because it's Tom Baker. He played himself. He didn't play the Doctor. Well, he played the Doctor, but he played the Doctor as himself. So when he makes a silly face, it's because it's the Tom Baker thing to do, and it's funny and it's brilliant. When she does it, she looks like an idiot. Because she's playing a character in many ways. Well, he was not. He was just being himself. I mean, is it just me? That's why I just won't be able to. That's the main reason why I won't be able to watch it. Funnily enough, the face annoys me. Yeah, somebody with a less annoying face, I might give it a chance. I mean, that girl there, who we were watching on the old one, she has a nice face. I'd watch her. I mean, I stopped watching even before Missy because it was just getting shit. I remember clearly, the dots before her, fucking Malcolm from The Thick of It, saying that things are going to be different. We're going to have no romances and things like that. It's going to be back to basics and shit like that. I'm like, hell yeah. I watched It Was Shit. And then Bill. I popped back in. His old companion who nobody liked was gone and was replaced with somebody that people hated even more, Bill, who every second has to say that she's a lesbian. Yeah, that's how you stop the Doctor having romances, gay characters, rather than just, make him not want to have sex with humans. Mega City 1, I don't watch I don't watch Judge Dredd, and I didn't like the new film that came out ages ago. Yeah, she should have been in the 50th. The actress is still alive. She is still alive. Susan Foreman. It's interesting that she has an actual name, even though she's a Time Lord. But I don't know. It's probably just a... Like, Carol Ann Ford is still alive. She isn't that old. She's only like 6 years older than my grandparents. Like, she can still do it. She was in the 5-ish Doctors, though. But, yeah. They really fucked the 50th anniversary up. I mean, the 5-ish Doctors. The 5-ish Doctors reboot was so much better in every single way, and it was like a low budget thing. Like, it was so much better. And don't get me wrong, I like the 50th anniversary episode. I liked it quite a lot, but I just felt this was better because it captured the spirit, whereas the 50th anniversary did not. And I do understand that a lot of the actors are dead or old, but they got around the old age thing by just saying, oh, it's a time loop thing, or whatever. So, I don't know. Yeah, Peter Capaldi, yeah. Yeah, the first two are promising. Yeah, it didn't remain darker for very long, did it? Oh, Peladon, yeah. The thing is, though, right? There's a scene in The Invasion where the Brigadier, being the Brigadier, the military man, says to this photographer and Zoe, after they've figured something out about the sewers, that the Cybermen are in the sewers, and how they're going to, and also how are they going to take pictures down there? Well, it's simple. You get a infrared film and a flash. There you go. And then the Brigadier acknowledges this really good idea from the photographer, forgot her name, and Zoe, and he says, excellent idea, well done, girls. However, due to the fact that you are civilians, we can't let you go down there because it's dangerous, and I'd rather you guys be alive, where you can actually, behind the scenes, where you can actually, do some good work. Because again, it's pretty clear in the episode that their strength is giving ideas, not going down on the ground and doing things. They should leave that to UNIT, whose job it is to go down into the sewers and other horrible places to kill aliens or to gather intelligence on them. And then the photographer then goes full feminist on him. It's actually a joke. And he just looks at her, he's just like, you're not going down there. and they go down anyway, and they indirectly or directly cause the death of one UNIT guy, although he kind of killed himself by trying to run away. But still, he wouldn't have died if they hadn't gone down there, forcing the UNIT soldiers to defend them. they nearly got themselves killed. I mean, then they had Jamie say, he's right, women are inferior because, he's from the 1700s, that's what he thinks. But I think it was more of a case just to show that, one, she's just an idiot for thinking that the Brigadiers are sexist when he isn't. He's just doing his job. And then they're taking the piss out of the cultural difference between the 1700s man and the 1960s woman. It was quite funny. But it was a bit cringy. I don't think it aged very well, especially in this day and age. I think McGann should have been the War Doctor, and they shouldn't have saved Gallifrey. Yeah, should have used McGann. Yeah, I don't like that either. Don't get me wrong, I love John Hurt, and I miss him greatly. He's one of the greatest British actors who have ever lived, right? Hands down. Amazing, right? But he isn't a Doctor to me. I don't consider him canon. I don't, because it doesn't make sense. They forced him in there for no particular reason other than Moffat thinks that it's smart. He thinks he's being smart by making it so complicated. When really what we should have been doing is what they're now doing with the 8th Doctor and giving him these webisodes. Why not just give him a whole spin-off series? Doctor Who, the 8th Doctor years or something. I don't know. Or The Time War, where it's like a set number of series where they show us what happened to the 8th Doctor during his time from regeneration to the end of the Time War. I personally don't mind Gallifrey being saved, because personally I don't like the fact that the Time Lords don't really play a role anymore in the plot or in the universe and things like that. I mean, I don't know. I think I just prefer the old universe to the new one. But I don't mind that necessarily. I don't know why Rassilon was there though. Rassilon's dead. Rassilon died, but whatever, Rassilon's alive apparently. But yeah. But what they should do is they should make a series and they explain like what he got up to, and also the some of the questionable things that happened in the film, like I'm half human. Maybe they can say I was under the regeneration side effects still and I said something stupid. I don't know, because he's clearly not half human. The Doctor is a Time Lord. Wait, was it Sidney Newman that... Oh, I've just been looking up the Doctor, really, and apparently it was Sidney Newman who actually created them. I thought it was the woman who created them. Huh. It was both of them, pretty much. Yeah, he did. And you know what's interesting? Sidney Newman was a sci-fi fan, and that's the thing with Doctor Who. You need people who are good at sci-fi, who love the genre, to make it work. I don't think the current showrunners, Moffat especially, are really that interested. They're doing it because it's a... Doctor Who at this point is now the opposite of what it was 30 years ago. It is a prestige show, and I think they're just doing it for the prestige, to bolster their CVs, personally. I don't think they really care. Russell T Davies cared, obviously. He was a massive fan, and a lot of the early writers were fanfic writers, essentially. Yeah, but Rassilon was dead. Rassilon was dead before the events of the series. It should have been somebody else. It should have been... Just the council in general could have been like an amalgamation of people to come up with like a Palpatine. I don't know. It really is populist. It shouldn't, and it's losing prestige again. As I said before, 20% of your audience buys 80% of your shit or watches 80% of your shit. It's the Who fans, not the Whovians. I swear Whovian is a new thing. Who called themselves a Whovian back in the 80s or the 90s? because I certainly didn't when I was young in the 90s and the early 2000s. I didn't call myself a Whovian. I was a Doctor Who fan, for fuck's sake. But yeah, like, they're appealing to Tumblr. Tumblr doesn't watch Doctor Who. I mean, some of them do. Like, Claudia Boleyn only watches the new one. Like, maybe she does watch some of the old stuff, but none of them watch the old stuff. Because if they watched the old stuff, they would be enlightened on what the actual canon is. But don't get me wrong, the old stuff could contradict itself as well, but nowhere near to the extent that this lot have, and not for the same reasons. Anyway, I've been going on too long, guys. It's nearly 10 o'clock and I should really shut up. But it's been fun talking about Doctor Who for the past God knows how long. I should probably do shit like this, just stream about Doctor Who and things like that. Yeah. There is no time war law. There really isn't. It's actually war stories that the various versions of the Doctors have talked about vaguely. We don't really know what happened. But yeah. Oh, so she has joined. So she has started doing the old stuff. Brilliant. Time Team don't know what they've got themselves into. But anyway, guys, I've got to go now. So it was fun. And until next time, I'll see you later.